In the previous session, we have learnt about types of plasmids and their application in the cloning. Today's session, we learn about tools of genetic engineering. The tools here refers to the enzymes used in genetic engineering. Various types of enzymes are used in genetic engineering. Some of them are nucleases, ligases, and other DNA modifying enzymes such as polymerases and uh, and the enzymes that add or remove chemical groups from the DNA. Nucleases are the enzymes that cut or shorten and sometimes degrade nucleic acid molecules, whereas the ligase, in contrast, join the nucleic acid molecules together. So these nucleases are of various types. This is mainly categorized into exonuclease and endonuclease. Exonuclease remove nucleotides one at a time from the end of a molecule. That is, it is not like it will remove, it is unspecific. If you give a strand, if you give a strand of DNA, if you give a sequence of DNA with two strands, it will start removing the nucleotides one by one. Like it degrades the whole nucleotide completely. While the endonuclease is able to break the internal phosphodiester bonds within a DNA molecule. You'll be studying about how an endonuclease recognizes the palindromic sequence. Like the endonuclease recognizes certain sequences in the DNA, and it will break the bond between only those nucleotides, mostly the phosphodiester bonds. Nomenclature: the exonucleases are used vastly in the field of genetic engineering. So, to know the nomenclature and classification of these endonucleases is very important. To describe a few, in the image you can see EcoR1 and BAMH1. How is it named? Generally, it is named with the organism it is derived from. Example, EcoR1. It is derived from E. coli. So the first three letters of that organism is taken along with R, representing the strain by which this enzyme is derived, and one here and EcoR1. One represents its substrain. It is not mandatory to write one, but some it is written has many enzymes are derived from this species. And the recognition sequence of this enzyme is GAATTC. You can see GAATTC, and it will be in inverse copy in the other strand, and it recognizes this particular strand and cleaves at that region, and it produces sticky end. You'll know about blunt and sticky end in the next slides. So there are ligases, which are contrast to these enzymes. Ligases actually inserts a particular fragment of DNA that is cut by restriction enzyme into the desired vector. In the previous video, we have studied plasmid as vector and how it is used in genetic engineering. Here, a fragment of DNA is joined at a particular site in the vector, and recombinant DNA molecule is formed. In the previous slide, I told you the blunt and the sticky ends. What are these? Some restriction enzymes cut DNA fragments straight, like it cuts it equally, forming blunt ends. Like there are no residues. Equal cleavage is known as blunt end cleavage, and the resulting strands are known to have blunt ends. Whereas the sticky ends is unequal cleavage. It leaves while in a sequence as we studied the palindromic sequence, how EcoR1 recognizes a palindromic sequence. The sequence is repeated if the palindromic sequence is in that order in 5' to 3' direction. It is in the reverse order and complementary in 3' to 5' direction in another strand. This enzyme recognizes this palindromic sequence and cuts in such a way that one of the strands have this palindromic sequences extending separately while the other has this sequence cut off. Later, this is of great importance in the field of genetic engineering as this is required to ligate it to the vector. We'll be studying the importance of this in the next detail. Okay, methods of ligating sticky ends and blunt ends. If the strand already contains a sticky end, it is easy to ligate. If not, if it is the blunt end cleavage, the sticky end is generated. How is it generated? It can be generated by using linker or an adapter or by other methods. We'll be discussing that in the later video. Like, what is a linker? A linker is a known sequence of DNA whose base pairs are already known. This sequence has an internally built restriction site recognition sequence that is recognized by the restriction enzymes such as EcoR1 and BAMH1. These recognize these sequences and cleave at that particular area. So these linkers are attached to the desired gene fragment that is cut off with a blunt end, and the restriction enzyme is allowed to act on that, thus generating a sticky end. Another one is adapter. Here, the adapter sequence itself is before only containing the sticky end. It does not require a restriction enzyme activity. So this is attached to the blunt end sequence, and later this is recognized by the vector complementary sequence that is also having a staggering end or a sticky end, and later joins by hydrogen bonds. Another method of introducing sticky end to the blunt end DNA strand is homopolymer tailing. Homopolymer means a polymer having same monomeric units. So here homopolymers generally can be a sequence containing multiple G repeats, that is guanine repeats or adenine repeats. This is included in the sequence. How is it included? When a DNA sequence is cut through blunt end, the desired DNA sequence is included with a poly G tail, while the vector genome is included with the poly C tail. The G and C are complementary to each other. This is a way of sticking these two sequences. When this desired sequence with a poly G tail is added to the vector with poly C tail, these two form hydrogen bonds as they are complementary to each other. Another way of introducing sticky ends to the blunted molecule is the topoisomerase cleavage. This is one of the popular methods used nowadays in the field of genetic engineering as a best tool. Here, topoisomerase. First of all, this enzyme is contributing to a greater length in DNA replication. Like introducing a cut. Like when the DNA is undergoing replication, as you all know, it will form a bubble-like structure, altering the coiling in the next sequences present adjacent to it. So this enzyme takes care to avoid negative supercoiling or positive supercoiling in the sequence. We'll be studying about this in a very elaborated manner in the future videos. For now, we'll understand how topoisomerase can introduce a single strand break in the sequence. So when this enzyme introduces a break, it is specific at a particular site and it uses a specific vector produced from vaccinia virus. And it recognizes the sequence at a sequence CAAT, and there it causes the cleavage, and addition of this particular desired sequence in the vector takes place successfully. Other enzymes used in genetic engineering, that is alkaline phosphate, DNA polymerase, polynucleotide kinase, and terminal deoxynucleotidal transferase. First, we'll study about DNA polymerases. As we know, DNA polymerases are the enzymes which adds the nucleotides during the synthesis of DNA. And you might be also knowing that DNA does not start the synthesis by itself. It requires a RNA primer. After this, the addition of nucleotides happens in the sequence. Basically, this DNA polymerase sometimes do have nuclease activity, that is cutting off the strands when errors are seen. This is one of the major contributions of DNA polymerase to the repair mechanism. We'll be studying about that in detail in the future videos. But here for genetic engineering, this nuclease activity must be eliminated. So when the nuclease activity is eliminated, the DNA polymerase having only polymerase activity is called as clean-off fragment. That clean-off fragment is used in genetic engineering. There is also another type of polymerase, that is reverse transcriptase. You must be knowing this, and it's very popular nowadays. Reverse transcriptase is an enzyme that uses RNA as template to synthesize DNA. It is not found in humans. It is mostly seen in RNA viruses, such as HIV. Other modifying enzymes include alkaline phosphatase and polynucleotide kinase. These two enzymes actually act in opposite with each other. Alkaline phosphatase removes the phosphate unit, whereas the polynucleotide kinase adds a phosphate unit. So why is the removal required? While generating a linker, primarily it will not have a phosphate unit to avoid self-linking between two linkers, to avoid its dimer formation. So this alkaline phosphatase plays a very important role there. It removes the phosphate groups and it converts that into hydroxyl group and avoids self-linking between two linker molecules. Hence, alkaline phosphatase is used for that reaction. When it is inserted into a vector, this polynucleotide kinase plays an important role by replacing this hydroxyl group with the phosphate group to facilitate sticking of this into the vector DNA. Another one important enzyme is the terminal deoxynucleotidal transferase. What this enzyme does is, as the name itself suggests, it transfers deoxynucleotides to a sequence. As we have seen how homopolymer is generated, this sequence transfers this homopolymer tail to the sequence of vector DNA and the desired DNA to generate sticky ends. These are the main enzymes that are used as tools in genetic engineering. If you find this video informative, please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. And if you need more information regarding this aspect, check for the link below. Thank you for watching.